Alrighty, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Thank you for joining us on this crisp Saturday afternoon, for me, morning, perhaps for you, for this free training from Break Up to Boot Up. Before we continue, can I get someone to unmute, someone to put in the comments, a thumbs up? Yes, you can hear me, which is most important. And then yes, you can see me, which is optional.
We can hear you, and thank you.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. Anybody else? Everybody can hear me? We're good? Hear me and see me? How about see me?
Yes, I can hear you and see you.
Good, good, good. Because I took my pins down, y'all. So I want to make sure y'all can see me too. All right, beautiful people. So let's go ahead and get started. This is how this training works. This is how all of my training works. So I have this presentation I put together myself. Not the most tech savvy. So if you're not very impressed with my slides, I apologize in advance, but it has the information that you need to get from point A to point B. The particular point A to point B that we're talking about today is from break up to boot up. So if you are on this call and you're looking to resolve some kind of connection that you still have with an ex so that you can move in the direction that you see fit, then this training is for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Please hold all of your questions until the end. You can put it in the comments so you can remember, or you can write it down, but I will take all of the questions at the end. I will say this, for the Q&A section, I'm here all day long. I'm not leaving until every single person's question is answered. However, I do require those who ask their question to say it. So you'll have to unmute yourself. You don't have to show your face, but you will have to unmute yourself because I'm going to be talking for the next hour or so straight. So it'd be really nice to just take a little bit of a break to hear someone else's voice, a break from the monotony. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. Okay. So this is an opportunity for me to check in. I would like for you to put in the comments a number one if you are afraid that you're never going to get over your ex. A number one in the comments if you feel like you're never going to get over your ex. A number two in the comments if you are dreading dating again. You just don't want to start over. It's not even necessarily about him or her, but it's really more about, I'd have to start over again. I have to figure out what he likes to eat again. I have to potentially be intimate with somebody else again. Put in the comments a number three if it's not an issue about starting over with somebody, it's an issue of feeling, is there anybody for me to start over with? If you're concerned about the dating pool, you think that it's best that I stay attached to this guy or this chick because I don't even think there's anybody who's qualified in the dating pool for me to start over with. So number one, if you're afraid that you'll never get over your ex. Number two, if you're dreading dating again, you just don't want to start over, even if there are good people out there. Number three, you're concerned there aren't good people, or any combination. Maybe it's 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 3 and 1. Just want to get a visual of what's going on here. Or I'm seeing people thinking that the dating pool is trash. Okay, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. And dreading dating again. That's the majority. Okay, got it. Okay, so let's cover what we're going to discuss in today's training. So surprisingly enough, what I found in my practice is that the issue normally isn't attachment to the person in himself. Most of the time it's himself, right? Or in the person, in the ex is what we'll be calling the person during the training, right? Many times it's not the attachment to the ex. Many times it's our own fears about moving on. Our fears in, will anyone else want me? Our fears in, now I'm a single mother, will anybody else want me? Our fears about, are there any other qualified people out there? Our fears around, I don't want to have to start over. Many times it's not the human being themselves that we're attached to, but it's all of the stigma that we're afraid that we're going to catch as a result of no longer being in that relationship. So the first thing that we actually do in our process of getting over an ex has nothing actually to do with the ex. The process that we use to get over an ex many times has nothing to do with the actual ex. Many times it has to do really with getting clear on what you want. Because when you are clear about what you want, many times those strings that attach you to your ex will begin to break on its own, because you will gain clarity that it's not the ex himself or herself that is the issue, but it's the fact that you need to move on for yourself because that person was not fulfilling what you needed. So getting clear on what you want out of a relationship and out of a partner is actually the first step. So we're going to cover that. We're also going to reflect on some of your missteps. Yes, you. You are an active participant in every element of your life, good and the bad. Some percentages a little bit bigger than others, but some of the missteps that you made in choosing that partner, remaining to stay with that partner, and then when things ended, now still being attached to that partner. The next piece of this training is going to be practical application. Okay, Alison, it sounds all lofty and good, but what are the actionable things that I can do, that will make me feel better, that will help me to move on? And then the last piece of the training is literally how to do it, because this is, again, from breakup to boot up. So it's not all about the breakup piece, but it's also how do I re-enter the dating scene with a new intention and a new focus. Okay, so who am I? If you are new to me or new to my page, maybe someone shared this with you, you haven't caught my lives, you really don't know who the heck I am. I'm the lady who texts and emails and talks so frankly, right? So my name is Alison, and I have 10 years of counseling experience. I also have a master's degree in mental health counseling. And I'm a certified dating and relationship coach. And why is this key? I'll be very transparent with you throughout this training. No one actually has to be a certified coach. So the coaches that you know and love or hate, many of them are not certified. You don't have to be in order to enter this industry. But it was important to me not only to have the educational background, but also have the certification, because one of the foundational pieces of what I teach when I work with clients is about vetting. Vetting the people that you're going on dates with, asking the right questions, Googling stuff if you have to, right? So if I'm telling you that you need to vet the folks that you're going to potentially be living with and being with for the rest of your life, then it's important that you vet the professionals that you work with too. And well, the joke is I don't even think I'm a newlywed anymore. I've been married for a year and August, September, October, a year and 3 months. So I guess I should update that, no longer a newlywed. Okay. But I have found through my own particular story, the key to success in moving on from a relationship that didn't serve me to a relationship that is overabundant in love, affection, appreciation, and everything else that I was looking for. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. And if you're not on my mailing list, you're probably going to hear this for the first time. And if you are, too bad, so sad, you're going to hear it again. You're going to hear it live, though, so it's more entertaining. All right. So about 9 years ago, right? About 9 years ago, I met a gentleman through a friend, relatively handsome guy, tall, dark, and handsome, doing well for himself financially. And we met each other, we liked each other, right? I'm cute, he's cute, we're gonna be cute together. That's the ignorant mentality that I had 9 years ago. And so no vetting whatsoever. I didn't ask a question about his family. I didn't ask a question about his desires. I didn't ask a question about whether he wants to have a family, whether or not he values marriage. I didn't ask questions about his financial goals. I didn't ask questions about whether or not he wants children. No vetting whatsoever. Chemistry. Please don't do that. Follow my lead and do not do that again, okay? So pure chemistry. Now, that chemistry did not last long, because once I started to smarten up and mature and realize that this person is not seemingly on the same page as me, our relationship was full of arguments. Never got physically violent, but full of absolute arguments. Argued about everything. You know how it is when you're sick of somebody? They don't even have to do anything wrong. They just like sneeze the wrong way and they get on your nerves. That's what our 4-year relationship looked like. Just unhappiness. But the root of the issue at hand had nothing to do about the way that he sneezed, right? The root of the issue was the fact that I was unfulfilled in my relationship. And the reason why I was unfulfilled is because I did no vetting whatsoever. See, there goes that lesson about vetting. And so within 4 years of the relationship, and now I'm pushing 30, I'm like, when are we gonna get committed? Well, what does commitment look like for me, right? So I'm like, okay, we're gonna get a bank account, we're gonna buy a house, gonna have a baby, gonna get engaged, gonna get married. Like, what are we building here? It just seemed like I was a trophy chick that was on his arm, right? This is not fulfilling to me. This is not beneficial to me. This is not what I'm looking for in my life. So after this gentleman made it clear to me that he needed more time, and now guess what? Time is what I don't have. And so what I did was I created, unbeknownst to me 5 years later, I created this process of moving on. I created a step-by-step on how I'm going to end ties with this gentleman, not just saying it's over, because people say it's over all the time. And then a week later, they send you flowers or a sweet text message and you let them right back in. But not only saying the words, which I said very clearly, right? But also learning how to exactly sever the ties emotionally and literally, like, what am I going to do to end this? Now, I'm going to tell you that many of you might have been married to your exes. Many of you might have children with your exes, which we will get into later on about how to sever those ties, because those ties are not the same for obvious reasons. Well, the marriage piece is pish tosh. The children, though, it's a different story. So it was easier for me than some of you. Full transparency, right? I didn't have children attached. I didn't have property attached. So some of the things I was complaining about actually worked out in my benefit. Many times the things that we complain about works out in our benefit, because in reality, it helped me to end those ties. And then, unbeknownst to me, I developed a process on how to get back into the dating scene so that I could find my husband, right? And so far, so good. So far, too good. So far, too good, okay? So these are some of the clients that I worked with in my programs. And so I want to tell you a little bit of a story. I have permission to share this photo. Obviously, I would never do it if I didn't. And I have permission to share this screenshot. So the client on the left, she had a lot of difficulty in the dating scene. The difficulty that she was having particularly is that she was not able to find men who wanted her in a serious way, right? Like, they wanted her body, they wanted her in a sexual way, but she couldn't. And similar to my issue, right? Like, yeah, you're my boyfriend, we're about to be 30, like, what's the next step? There was no next step. And so what I was able to coach her through was exactly what I'm going to coach you through at the end of this, or towards the end, which is about the vetting process and asking the right questions. But she also had a connection, and that connection was to her ex, which happens to be her youngest child's father, right? And again, I mentioned before that ending ties with someone you have a child with is not going to be as concrete and blatantly, just to be direct, as easy as doing it with someone that you have no tie to, right? But she had to go through the process that I'm about to share right now in order to sever those ties emotionally. Now, she does have to still see this guy. He comes around, he drops in, you know, some dads are more present than others. However, she had to sever the ties emotionally so that she could position herself to go through the dating process, to vet, and then to eventually walk down the aisle. We met in, I want to say, February of last year, and she walked down the aisle of August of this year. A year and a half. She was able to get through the heartbreak and date and walk down the aisle, okay? The woman with the beautiful orange nails on the right, her situation, she had 2 children, 2 teenage girls with her ex-husband. The ex-husband remarried, and I know that many times is a real pain point for us when we see our exes seemingly moving on and being good and being happy and being fulfilled, and we're the only ones who are left feeling like we're holding the bag, right? She divorced from her husband. She had her 2 girls. She started dating afterwards, did not vet the guy that she dated. And so she began to do what we do many times, to start to reflect on the ex and thinking, oh, I should have made it work with him. He's so much better than this person. If I was going to go through this kind of embarrassment, if I was going to go through this type of stress, I might as well have stayed. Absolutely not. There's a reason why it's over. And many times what we do is we like to romanticize what our relationship was versus what it really was. We ignore the pain and the heartbreak, or we forget, right? Because maybe that's the mind and the heart doing us a favor. We forget what we went through with the other person. So when we get the new guy and he's annoying too, it's like, well, if that was the case, I might as well. No. Because you are willfully, or not willfully, maybe subconsciously forgetting what caused the breakup in the first place. But my beautiful hand here, She is now officially engaged. She's getting married next year, and I'm in there like swimwear. Okay? Okay. That one's in Virginia. Another one of my clients, also 2 teenage girls. She went through the same thing, had a husband, became an ex-husband. He remarried. He had more children. He's on the other side. They're from Texas, on the other side of town, not as active as she wants to be, for him to be. And again, looking at that relationship and saying, well, how come you got remarried? How come you were able to work it out with someone else? I wanted more children. You didn't want more children with me. This is what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily about the ex. It's about what the ex represents. Many times the ex represents what we feel is our own failure. How come we weren't able to make it work with our child's father, or with an ex, or with a husband, or an ex-husband now, right? What's wrong with me that he didn't want me? It's not about him himself. I want you to think about him. I want you to think about her as a person. Is it really them that you're attached to, or is it the dreams and the desires that are attached to them? Is it really them, or is it the shame that you may feel like, oh my goodness, this is my second child with another guy, and now people are gonna say I'm undesirable. Oh my God, they're gonna say that, why didn't I get married first, and why didn't I do a better job of vetting? They're gonna say I go through guys, or I go through girls so frequently that I must be the problem. You're a part of it, maybe not the whole thing, probably not the whole thing, but you are a part, and this is why you're here, to learn how to change behaviors, right? Which is okay. No one's perfect, and we're all learning. It's a process. If you're not learning, then something's wrong with you, really, right? So same issue. He's able to move on. He has a new wife. He has a house. I wanted to buy a house. It's not about him. It's about what he represents. Going through my program, she says, Allie, thank God for you. You helped me discover my true self and my true desires. You helped me get ready for this man who has changed my life. I don't know how to thank you. I can't wait for her to give me permission to post this one, okay? All of this to say, if it can happen for them, it can happen for you. This is not a moment of me to brag. I do that sometimes, if you follow me. This is not an opportunity for me to brag. My point is that if it's happened for them, it can happen for you. As I'm specifically talking to my single moms, you're concerned because she's a single mom, 2 daughters. Orange nails with a single mom, 2 daughters. Wedding dress with a single mom. I don't know the gender of the first child, but the second one is a little boy. Little boy. It's not about being no longer desirable because I'm older, no longer desirable because I have a child or 2 children or 2 children with different men. It's about you making a choice that you deserve more than what that person had to offer. And so you're gonna take actionable steps on moving on from this relationship that did not serve you to one that will overly serve you. I don't know if overly is a word, okay? So at this point, now that I have illustrated this point to you, I want you to promise to take action. Raise your hand in the comments if you are willing to take action. If I have illustrated to you that I have a system that can help them, and if I have a system that can help them, that means I have a system that can help you. There is no difference between you and them. I'm gonna give you guys a quick story. When I live in New York City, so having a driver's license is not like a big deal, right? But I wanted a driver's license. I was tired of paying for taxis. This is before Uber. And so I want to drive, right? My mom has a license, hasn't driven in like 30 years. My sisters had a license, and after they got their license, they didn't drive anymore. And so I don't really have people who drive. Didn't even have a car as a part of my household. But I want to drive. I'm tired of calling taxis. And back in those days, you call, they say, call back in 10 minutes, and they hang up on you, you got to call again. It was annoying, right? And so I want to drive, I want to get a car. Now I'm scared because driving is dangerous, right? Whether it's like the #1 leading accidents or death or whatever is with cars, like people die in cars. So I'm scared. My mom, we're from Brooklyn. My mom lives off of Linden Boulevard. It's a 7-lane, huge road, right? Trucks use this as a way to get from point A to point B. I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing car after car after car pass. Big cars, small cars, red cars, black cars, big trucks, SUVs, motorcycles, every kind of vehicle you can imagine, right? I'm just staring out the window, and it dawned on me, like literally like a light bulb went off. And I said to myself, I'm gonna refrain from the profanity of what I really thought. But I thought to myself, if these people could figure it out, why can't I figure it out? if the hundreds of people who pass me as I stared out the window thinking in my own thoughts can figure out how to turn a wheel, how to hit the gas, how to hit the brake, how to reverse, how to parallel park, which in New York is a skill, right? If they've all figured it out, what's the difference between them and me? I'm probably smarter than half of them anyway, which I don't know if that's the truth. But the point is, I need you to understand that if someone else has figured it out, I figured it out as a relatively younger person with no children. All of the clients that I just illustrated to you, either divorcees or quote unquote baby mamas with more than one child, one of them with a practical toddler, he's like 5, have figured it out, then there's no reason on earth you can't figure it out. And what I need you to understand is this is way more mental than you think. You think, oh, I'm crying every time I think about it. You're thinking I could barely get through work. You're thinking I'm so afraid to get back on the scene. This is way more mental than emotional. And so I'm going to show you the mental, the actual things you can do, which will help to undo some of the emotional. But this is way more mental than you think. Okay? Why is this the time for you to take action? Now is always the time, okay? So 1, biologically, if you desire to have children or more children, then, and you're a woman, time is not on your side. And so if that's your desire, and that's not a desire for everybody, I'm not pushing it on anyone, but if that's your desire, you need to move on from this person because it ain't happening with them. So you need to move on just for biological reasons. Remember I said that this is more mental than anything. You have to convince yourself that it's time. That's it. This isn't moving a boulder. This isn't figuring out how to do a heart surgery. This is you making a decision. So I need you to take logical and reasonable steps. Biologically, you need to move on, right? Let's talk about reasonable. Reasonably, if that's a word, right? New relationships are starting every day. Now, I am a believer, this is my personal belief, I don't believe in a soulmate. I just don't believe that God would do that to anybody, right? Like, so I have a single soulmate and then this guy decides that he wants to join the military, then he dies in Afghanistan and now I'm gonna be alone forever. That's not reasonable to me. So I have a single soulmate and then he decides that he wants to move to Atlanta to start his rap career. I'm never gonna meet him again. That was a ridiculous example, but you get the point, right? Like, I just don't believe there's a single soulmate out for anybody. And so that means, if you follow my logic and my theory, that means the soulmates that you could have had, again, mixed up with somebody else. It's your turn to get back into the dating scene, but before you could do that, you need to do some healing. Right? Why is now the time? You have a right to reliability. You have a right to have someone that's not your dad, or that's not your brother, or that's not your mama, that's not your uncle, who you can call on if you get a flat tire. You have a right to have somebody that you can lean on when it gets colder this winter and you're afraid that the pipes are frozen and you're thinking that they're about to bust and you don't know what to do. You have a right to rely on someone when you bought the new TV for Black Friday and you need somebody to help you mount it. You have a right to rely on someone to offer you emotional love and support that a daddy or an uncle or a brother cannot give. Just cannot, right? Like, they might do the practical stuff. They can't give you that. They can't stroke your hair, right? They can't slap your butt and tell you how cute you look today, right? And hold you up and make you late for work for a little extra rum-a-dum-dum, right? You deserve that. And if you are like me, you want to build an empire. You're looking into crypto. You're looking into stocks. You're thinking about real estate investment. Can you do it on your own? Yes. Do you want to? Who the hell does? Who would want to have to build an empire on their own? Caesar didn't build an empire on his own, other than the fact that it was passed on generationally. But still, he had generals who then recruited the armies, who created strategies to conquer other lands. No one is building an empire on their own. And if you do, you're going to be overwhelmed, stressed out, and not optimized to what that empire could have been. It could have been 20 properties instead of 10. It could have been $1 million return on your crypto investment versus 500,000, right? So now is the time to take action. I need you guys to think about the logic and the reason and apply that logic and reason, and it will begin to remove or reduce the emotional connection that you're feeling. Okay? So I want you to stay on this call. if you are any of these people at the bottom. If you're not, and you want to stay just because you just want to hear some stuff, then sure. But this training specifically are for the people who are still reeling over a heartbreak or breakup. You tend to date some of the same types and you're not picking it up yet, or you've picked it up, but you don't know how to let it go. You're afraid to love again, but most importantly, you're willing to work. And the fact that you're here with me on a Saturday afternoon / Saturday morning / Saturday, whatever, wherever you are in the world, means that you're ready to put in some effort, but it just doesn't end at listening to Alison talk for an hour and then asking a question at the end. Okay? So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna talk about analyzing your own shortcomings in your relationship so you can stop making the same mistakes over and over again. Because if you're the type that's still attached to an ex, so much so that you have reached out to me in some form or fashion, right? This means that this is a pattern of behavior. And even if you get off this ex, when you get onto the next one and it doesn't work out, it's gonna be the same level of being overly attached. So we need to pick up on some patterns about you that we need to rectify, and we're gonna do the best we can in the time that we have together. We're gonna brainstorm an action plan as to how specifically you can move on from your ex. And then my hope is by the end of this, that you're gonna gain the confidence to know that you can do this. Like I said, I looked out the window. If everybody else figured out how to drive a car, that means I can figure it out too. If my clients before had figured out how to move on from their ex-husband, the father of their children, then you can too. What's the difference? What they got that you ain't got? Nothing other than me, but you got me now, so it's all good. At the end of the day, if you're able to peel back the pain that you're feeling over this breakup, what you want is a fulfilling partnership, and you deserve it, and you're not asking for too much. Sometimes, because of the traumas that we faced, we feel like, well, this is probably the best that I deserve. No, this is not the best. You deserve everything. The question is, are you willing to put in the work to get it? You deserve to be a millionaire. You deserve to feel good about your body. You deserve a loving, committed relationship. You deserve all these things, but you have to work for it. Okay? But again, if you're still reeling over your ex, then how are you going to position yourselves to seek out the partner that you deserve? It can't work. You can't do both. Okay? So you're afraid to open up again. You feel like you're never going to find an equally yoked partner. That's what you told me in the comments. You think that the dating scene is too rough. That's not true. That's what people like to say to make them feel better, that it's them, and it's not me. Or you're afraid that there aren't enough potential good mates out there, right? You're afraid that you're never going to have the family you imagined, or you're not going to have the two-parent household that you imagined, right? You're afraid that you're going to be ostracized because, again, who's going to want me? I have a child. Who's going to want me? I have 2 or 3 children. And maybe that you'll even die alone. If you're a little bit more dramatic, that's a fear, right? You have these myths in your head. You think, oh, well, yeah, it worked out for Alison because she's lucky. Oh, it worked out for her other clients because they're lucky. Or you're thinking, oh, yeah, well, I mean, they finally walked down the aisle, but we don't know what kind of struggle they went through to get there. And you know, I have to struggle to get there first. Absolutely not. I did not struggle at all. I did not struggle at all with Andrew Wellington. There's no struggle here. We've been together 5 years. Not a struggle at all. I mean, other than my face, like I don't know how else to paint the picture of. No, it does not have to do anything with luck. It has to do with strategy. Jeff Bezos is not I don't know if he's a billionaire yet. He's not a billionaire because of luck. Now, there may have been some funds that was allocated, like when Trump says that he received a small loan of $1 million. There may have been some funds, but Trump could have gotten that $1 million from his dad and pissed it away. Instead, he was strategic with his money, bankrupt a couple of times, but eventually figured it out, right? All the way to the presidency. So it's not about luck, and it's not about, oh, I have to go through a struggle first in order to appreciate. Absolutely not. It does not have to be like that. And if you do want to subscribe to that, fine. This is the struggle right now. But the struggle doesn't have to be with the man or the woman that you're with in order to get to where you need to be. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's the truth. The truth is that you have choices. You can have the family, you can have the education, you can have the career, You can have the healing too, and you can have the partner that you deserve. It doesn't have to be, well, everything's going, this, I hear this all the time. Everything's going so well in my career. Everything's going so well with my health. I'm finally feeling fit, but I just can't get my romantic life together. You can have it all. Anybody who says you can't is lying. And it's either because they've never experienced it, maybe not a hater, right? It's because they haven't experienced it themselves. They just can't believe it can happen, or they're a hater. And because it didn't happen for them, that means it can't happen for anybody, okay? So now let's get to the nitty gritty. Now let's get to now we have the mental, right? Like, yes, I can do this. I do believe I have the ability to move on from this relationship. I believe Alison, what she says, is not about him or her themselves, but some of the stigmas that are attached, some of my belief system that there aren't any quality people, the belief system that I don't want to start over. So I have the mentality. Now that you have the mentality, now we have to move on to the practicality. How do you actually do it? Step one, you need to accept the fact that it's over. It's over. It's over. It's over with their words. They said it to you. It's over with your words. You said it to them. It's over with their actions. They behaved as someone who was single, i.e., doesn't communicate, calls you when they feel like it, never checks in with you, not invested in your well-being. Mine is, I didn't say cheating yet. Not concerned about your own personal growth, not investing in building a relationship with you that is worthy and has some grit to it, i.e. what I said, a bank account, a house, an engagement, a marriage, a baby, right? Or they're having sex with other people. So they've shown you, or you've shown them, right? Because we're not all angels. Sometimes we're the reasons why that breakup happens, and that's okay too. How do you accept it? What I recommend with my clients is I say you get you a journal and a pretty pen. You put that next to your bedstand at night, or on your bedstand at night. And I need you to write down, this relationship is over and why, every night before you go to sleep. Write it down. Because what happens is that when we're attached, we like to go through our phone, right? And we like to go through the phone and we want to scroll through all the good times. We want to scroll through our 30th birthday party. We want to scroll through our 35th anniversary when we went to Taiwan. We want to scroll through his mama's 65th birthday, his granddad's 80th. We want to scroll through the best of the best. We don't look at the pictures of when he punched a hole in the wall. We don't look at the screenshots when she was talking to some guy and he sent her some inappropriate photos. We don't look at the picture when our eyes were puffy, because there isn't any, when we went to work and all of our coworkers know that we were crying the whole night. We don't look at a picture of the police statement of when the neighbors called the cops because we were screaming on the top of our lungs. We don't look at any of that. I need you to look at that. And if you don't have it in your phone, right, I need you to write it down. Think about The Simpsons. Think about the intro of The Simpsons. If you remember, if you were old enough for this memory or watch The Simpsons, where Bart would have to write down on the board, I'm never going to whatever again. I'm never going to whatever he would do every episode, right? The purpose of that, even though that's seen as corporal punishment these days, is to have it set in your mind for you to begin to believe what you're writing. So I need you to write it down. If you want to write it down once, if you want to write it down 50 times, it is your choice. Write down, this relationship is over and why. Remind yourself that your relationship is not the sum of your Instagram posts. Your relationship is not your reels. They literally call it reels, the best of the best chopped up. Your relationship is not an Instagram highlight. It's literally called highlights, the best of the best. That's not what it is. That former relationship did not serve you. That's why it's over. Even if you're the one who caused it to be over, you caused it to be over because it didn't serve you. If it served you, you would have stayed. If it served you, you wouldn't have cheated. If it served you, you would have done something to make sure that the relationship didn't fail. It either didn't serve you or it didn't serve them. So write it down every night until you believe it. If you read something enough times, trust me, you can convince your mind. That's why I said this is more mental than emotional. Step 2, stop letting this person back in. Stop letting them back in. I've coined the term, because y'all know I like to make up words sometimes, boomeranging, right? That's a lady throwing a boomerang. Maybe in Australia, we don't know. You throw something and then it comes back in. You throw it and it comes back in. You are allowing this person access. Tell yourself no. If you're writing it down in the journal every night, you know exactly why it's over. It'll make it easier for you to create the boundary that you need to create in order to not let this person back into your life romantically. Now, for my parents that are on the call, this still applies to you. You're not letting them back in your house in a romantic way. You're not letting them back in your bedroom for any reason. They can pick up the baby on the porch. You can meet them in the lobby. Stop allowing this person back into your life and thinking that, well, nobody else is gonna want me because I have X amount of kids, so I wanna stay with my kid's dad, so I don't have to. He doesn't want you, or you don't want him. Something went terribly wrong that ended a relationship that resulted in a child. Something went terribly wrong that ended a marriage, legally binding partnership. Stop letting this person back in. And if you follow step one, it will strengthen your mind and your heart to not allow them back in. Literally, don't let them in your house. That's what I mean. What are you coming in here for? Pack the baby's bags, boom, boom, boom. You own their stuff. They have stuff, which we're gonna get to in a second. I'm actually jumping ahead. Ship it. Ask your friend to drop it on the porch, in front of his building, in front of the door. I don't know what to tell you. Do not let this person back in. Okay. Now, this part is in part to my parents and in part to my non-parents. If you are not a parent with or share a child with this person, you need to cut them off 100%. Cut them off. Cut them off. Cut them off. Cut them off. The if possible is for the parents. I'm not talking to you if you're not a parent. Do not hold on to Alison said if possible. I'm talking to the parents for if possible. Right now, I'm talking to the people who do not have a child with this person, with this ex. Cut them off. You delete everything. Everything. You delete all photos from your, don't archive them, delete them. Delete them from your posts, delete them from your highlights, delete them from your reels, delete them from your live streams. Delete every tweet they sent you, delete the inbox, delete the emails. In your phone, you're gonna delete the photos, the videos. I don't care if it's fond memories of you in Jamaica, goodbye, you'll make new memories. Goodbye. They said goodbye to you, you're saying goodbye to it. Emails, I need you to delete them as a contact on Venmo. I need you to remove their Cash App tag. I need you to block them on Cash App because people think they're cute and they like to send you $50 to say, hey, you blocked me on everything. You block them on everything. You block them on Facebook, you block them on Facebook Messenger, you block them on Instagram, you block them on Twitter, you block them on TikTok. I don't care. You cut them off. You, even if that means that you gotta pay for your Netflix now, just so you don't have to see their name, their email in the signature, so what, it's $15, you will be okay. If you're serious about moving on, you gotta cut this person off. Cold turkey, move on, goodbye. Cut off their friends. Yes, I said it. Their friends are their friends are not your friends. If you have a friend in common, I need to know where their alliance lies, and I will decide thereafter whether or not I'm gonna cut them off. Cutting off their family is their family is not your family. I don't care if they were in-law, they're an ex-in-law, they're no longer your family. Mother-in-law is not your mother. Father-in-law is not your father. Sister-in-law is not your sister. They are their person's mother and father and sister. Goodbye, cut them off. If you need to transfer jobs, once you don't lose no money. I talked about losing a little $15 to Netflix. I ain't talking about losing thousands, we're not a fool. Do whatever you need to do to remove this person from your being, from your environment, from everything, okay? Those are some of my people who do not have a child with the ex. If you have a child with the ex, you're gonna do all the social media cutting off still. Why? What you need to see their social media for? What does their social media have anything to do with the caring of this child or children? Nothing. Block them, mute them. I'm not crazy about block. I actually don't really like blocking. I want you to see me if you want to see me. I just don't want to see you. Mute them, unfollow them. If you absolutely got to block them because they're harassing you, then block them, right? You need to have an email address and one phone number for this person. Now, if you rely on their family like grandma to help you and you need them, right? Or they're pleasant human beings. If you want to keep them around, relatively speaking, fine, but that's going to be only about the child. And she's no longer Ma anymore. Hey, Ma. Hi, Ma. Hi, Pop. Nope. Hi, Miss Cheryl. Hi, Miss Williams, right? Whatever. They're no longer mom. Or they're grandma now. They could be grandma because they're your child's grandma. We're not friends. We're not family. Again, I'm talking to the people who are reeling over a breakup. These are people who need to learn how to move on ASAP. If you have a good rapport with them and you're fine and you're dating, you're just here because you like me or you like to hear presentations, and fine. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who are reeling. I'm talking to the people who cry at night. I'm talking to the people who feel like relationships and romance is hopeless for them. I'm talking to the people who feel like they're not going to be able to find somebody else. They're no longer desirable. Cut them off. For my parents, if you have a child with this person, as much as possible, a phone number, an email, and maybe grandma, because if you rely on her for support, then fine. Other than that, you don't need to speak to them. They should not be calling you. If you need to go on your phone, I know with the iPhone update, there's something called Focus, and you can remedy what hours. Absolutely not. They want a picture as 11 p.m. Absolutely not. You're going to ignore that text message. You're going to go to sleep. You're going to wake up. It's going to be 7 a.m. You're getting up anyway, 6:30 to go to work, right? You're still not going to send the message at 6:30 in the morning. You'll wait till 9. Hey, sorry, just saw the message. Here's a picture of so-and-so. There's no excuse for you to be on their social media. There's no excuse for you to be texting them outside of the parameters of what's reasonable, unless something's wrong with the baby, y'all going to the doctor or the hospital. That's it. For the rest of y'all, no excuses. Cut them off of everything. Okay? Get rid of their stuff. Yes, I put a hoodie. Y'all like to keep the hoodies. Back in my days, guys used to wear basketball shorts under their jeans. They're not really doing that anymore. I guess that's old school. We used to keep their basketball shorts, keep their do-rags, keep their cologne. No. If you are heartbroken, if you are reeling, right? You want no memory of this person as much as you can control it. The fastest way for you to get over this person is out of sight, out of mind. It is not absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's BS. That's what military people used to tell themselves to make them feel better about their wife as they're overseas about to die for the Vietnam War or something like that. Absence does not make the heart, remind me World War I. Absence does not make the heart grow fonder. Maybe before that. Point is, out of sight, out of mind. This is why you're cutting everybody off. I don't want to hear his sister saying, oh, you heard about his new girl? Her name is Vanessa. Nope. Oh, girl, you know, he's still heartbroken. He be talking about you. Nope. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see his social media. I don't want to see him moving on to a new girl. And oh my gosh, look at her physique and how she's prettier than me. And look at her hair and look at how clear her skin is. Nope. Oh, I knew he was messing with that girl. He said they were just friends. I don't want to see it. Nope. Or he's posting posts of him being sad. Well, you wasn't sad when you was cheating on me. Nope. Or he's posting posts of him with his friends having a good old time. Or you having a good time while I'm heartbroken? Nope. There is no good out of seeing these things. So they got to go out of your being as much as humanly possible. If y'all don't have children together, that means 100%. 100%. Get rid of their stuff. Stop putting on his t-shirt to smell it. Burn it, give it away, sell it, ship it to him, drop it on his porch right before you know he's gonna arrive home. We don't want nobody stealing his stuff. I don't also want to see him either, right? But with the ring, I don't even know if I want to be seen on his porch. Mail it. I don't know what to tell you. Get rid of their stuff. Get it out of your environment. This is how you're gonna start. You're gonna stop from hurting yourself. You're doing it to yourself, y'all. You're taking the knife and you're stabbing yourself in the heart, and then you're turning it every time you go on his Instagram or you go on his Twitter. You're doing it to yourself. Every time you smell his clothes, you're doing it. He ain't doing nothing to you. You doing it to you. Get rid of his stuff. Okay? The last piece is about investing in yourself. Whatever that investment looks like. This is twofold. One, if you're investing your time in yourself, that means that's less of the time that your mind can wander to think about the ex, right? If you're busy studying because you want to go back to school so you can become a registered nurse, you're reading those books and those big medical words, that means you're not thinking about what this guy or this girl is doing, right? If you are now going to launch your business and you've been meaning to launch your business for the longest, you do hair care, now you want to do your own hair serum, you start mixing oils, you're looking on Amazon for bottles and companies and labels, the time that you're spending and investing yourself, that means that's time you're not thinking about the ex anymore, right? So literally, that's a way that you can take your mind off of it. But let me tell you the other side, the long-term win with this. you're becoming a better version of yourself. If you're going back to school, you're becoming more educated. You might be increasing your circle. So when you start wanting to date again, you're around the types of people that you want to be around. You're increasing your salary. If you're starting your business, same thing. You're increasing your salary. You're socializing perhaps with a new group of people. If you're building your business, you should be using social media. You're going to be interacting with people on live streams and going to conferences, all that kind of stuff, right? If that investment is therapy, kudos to you. Invest in yourself. You're unearthing some of the traumas or difficulties you faced in the past. You're working through them. You're becoming a better version of you in terms of your personality or your character. Invest in yourself. Go to the dermatologist. Fix that dark patch. Go to the dermatologist. Check out what's going on with your skin. It's probably stress induced. So now you can reduce the stress. Whatever investing in yourself might look like. Go into the gym. Hiring a nutritionist, getting surgery. You always wanted to do the mommy makeover, lift the breast, do whatever you need to do once you can afford it and you're not being irresponsible and you vet these people, right? Always go back to vetting. Invest in yourself. The short term is that your time is going to be reverted to someone else or something else, right? You're distracted. And then the other side of it is going to be that you're becoming a better version of you, which means that one, you're more fulfilled about yourself. And also by default, you are in a position to attract a different type of person, a higher quality, higher caliber person, because you are a higher quality, higher caliber person. Okay? Then you begin to gleam with confidence. Confidence is key, like they always say, right? I know I just spoke for like 40 minutes and y'all saying, oh, Alison, that sounds so good, but oh, Alison, that sounds so good, but you still have questions. You still have your doubts, right? You can't envision getting through this pain. You cannot imagine like, okay, I could get through the pain, but I cannot start over. I cannot do this again when somebody else's son or somebody else's daughter, right? Or you feel like things are just like ordained by the Lord and you don't have control over your life. You had control over everything else. You chose what college, you chose a degree, you chose the man or the woman more than once, but now you magically don't have control over your love life, right? Those are your fears. You don't think you have it in you to do it again. Like, I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna become engaged again. I'm gonna get married again. I'm gonna change my name again. I'm gonna have somebody else's baby again. That's your fear. I don't have the strength, Alison. I cannot do it. You're doubting those family goals. Am I ever going to have a 2-parent household for these kids? Am I ever going to have children? Because I wasted X amount of years on this person and now I'm concerned about me being able to have children or more children, right? Those are your concerns. And you're still holding on to these myths, these bummy myths of something's wrong with me and that's why I can't hold on to a man or a person. Oh, I don't have time for this. I'm so busy with work. I'm so busy with the kids. You have time for whatever you prioritize. You're lying to yourself. Right? You have this myth of, oh, I don't have control over my life. I mean, I chose my career. I chose to move to this city. I chose to buy this house, but I don't have control over my romantic life. Yes, you do. Okay? I'm here to tell you the truth, which I just said. You can craft the life that you want. You can craft the life that you want. You've done so already. You've begun to do so already. Okay? You can manifest this. And manifestation is not something that is like crystals and prayer beads. Manifestation means having a clear vision. My definition is having a clear vision for what you want, planning for it, and executing it. Manifestation is just a nice way of saying working hard, really, because there is no manifestation of anything you want in your life without hard work in some form or fashion. So people say, I manifested the body that I wanted. How? You either got surgery, which was painful and expensive, or you went in the gym and you dieted, which was emotionally and mentally hard work. Or I manifested my $1 million business. No, you worked super hard. You took courses. You went back to school. You invested in a coach. You put the plan in place. You did 12-hour days to build your own website and to build your social media following. Manifest is a fancy way of saying, believing that you can. It starts with the mental, creating a plan, and then executing it. So if you've done that in other elements of your life, then it's outrageous for you to believe that you can't do it now. You do have control to get over this X and to move on. You do have the time to invest in a coach, a therapist, going back to school, starting your business, prioritizing yourself. And there's nothing that's wrong with you. There's elements of every one of us that can improve, but there's nothing that's wrong with you that makes you not worthy, okay? I wanna tell you about one of my clients. Successful, beautiful woman, right? She allowed her ex unlimited access to her. Oh, I need to proofread this. Unlimited access to her, right? Even though he was clearly unwilling to commit. Clearly, right? She would let him in back, like based on the fact that he had potential, right? And not on reality. We need to stop selling ourselves on potential. Potential is just that. It's what could be. I live, until the metaverse changes something, I live in reality. And so when I choose a partner, or when I recommend a client to consider a partner that they're considering, we need to choose this person based on who they are right now, not who we believe them to be. In most cases, people don't live up to their full potential. Even the most, prepared, intelligent, motivated, right? There's still something more you could have done. So you could have made $1 more. You could have lost an additional pound. You could have gotten an extra muscle. There's more you could have done. We're not basing any decision on potential. Never. You base it on the reality, accept the reality for what it is, and then you can see thereafter whether or not it has the potential to grow. I'm gonna accept this salary as it is because I can eat off of this. I can pay the bills, I can do okay. And then it has the potential for me to grow with the business or with the company. I'm not gonna accept this salary based on I know I'm gonna be the next CEO. I can deal with this and it has potential. But if you can't deal, don't do. My client, like this guy, he's a project. No license. In New York City, not too bad. No passport. You're a grown man, you don't have a passport. It wasn't taken from you, nothing. No passport. She was very successful. She made over 6 figures. My man worked in Burger King, and I'm not exaggerating, y'all. Burger King, trying to uplift him. Reality, not potential. But her biggest issue, which is many of our biggest issues, is hating to start all over. I don't want to start over. Many times you need to. Many times you're braiding your hair and that braid is looking funny. You have to unloose the whole braid to get it back. Y'all want to unbraid it a little bit and then pick up the, no, it's not going to look good. The braid is going to be crooked. Sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you have to start over. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. And you're better off ending it now and starting over now than waiting another year, another 2 years, another 5 years. And then finally you realize, and you know who wasted those 2 years, those 5 years? You did, not him, not her, you did. Because you just didn't want to start over, okay? I hope I'm not speaking too brash, y'all, but I'm trying to really get home to you that you have control over your life and you can erase the mistakes. You can pivot from the mistakes that you've made in the past. Okay, how do you do it? You need to change your belief systems. Your belief systems are what's making things difficult for you. You have these preconceived notions that are negatively impacting your life. No one else is gonna want me. Why? Because you gained some weight? Because you got some stretch marks? Because you a little too short? You're a little too tall? Because you got 2 kids? Because you got 3 kids, right? No. As long as you believe that no one else wants you, you're absolutely right. No one else wants you. Why? Because you've taken yourself off of the market. You have ignored every advance, even from guys who you would have given a chance to in the normal circumstances, right? Or girls. Men are intimidated by me. No, maybe you're a jerk. Maybe you lead with masculine energy and telling people what you do and how much money you make and how established you are, which guess what? If you are a woman who dates men, and you want a straight man is not interested in a masculine woman because then that would not make him straight anymore. Yeah, you're a woman biologically, but if you're presenting in a masculine way, then why would you be desirable to a heterosexual man? This is just logic, y'all. But we have these beliefs, oh, men are just intimidated by me, or No one else is gonna want me. As long as you believe that, you're absolutely telling yourself the truth. You're making it your truth, right? What you need to do instead, in order to establish yourself back on the dating scene, I need you to create 3 SMART goals, relationship goals. Write them every night. Just like on one page, you're writing what went wrong and why you're not with so-and-so. Write it down every night. Get clear on exactly what you're looking for in a relationship, so that when you start to get back on the dating scene, you know exactly what you're looking for, and that is going to drive your relationship. It's going to drive your conversations. It's going to drive your vetting process. You need to establish what your non-negotiables are. What are the things that you absolutely will not move from? If this person does not have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then I will not consider them, or at least seemingly, right? Because dating is a process. You're constantly collecting data. Data is dating, and dating is data. You're collecting the information. So do they seemingly have these non-negotiables? Please know I did not say 30 things, 25 things, 20 things. I didn't say a dozen. I said 5 to 6. We have to be practical and realistic. And this is not an effort to tell you to settle. It's an effort to tell you to be practical and realistic. You cannot have a list of 30 things and think that a person out there is going to fulfill all of them. They probably won't. Or by the time you find them, you're going to be 70. Good luck, right? You need to establish what your goals are in dating. You need to establish what your non-negotiables are in dating and in your relationships, because that is going to drive your conversation. If I know that one of my relationship goals is that I get married, I'm not going to ask a guy, yo, you trying to get married to me? Again, masculine energy, right? Yo, you trying to play games or what? Masculine energy. I'm not going to be that direct. But I'm going to ask, what are your thoughts on marriage? And I might even preface that and kind of cushion a little bit more. And the conversation would first be about his family. It'll be about his parents. Are your parents still together? Did they ever get married? Were they happy? Did you see that? Did you see how they were unhappy? How did that impact you in regards to your relationship, seeing that your parents were unhappily married for 40 years? Did it scare you away from marriage? Did it make you think that it doesn't work? Those are the conversations I'm going to have around my relationship goal of marriage. Does that make sense? You establish the goals. You establish these non-negotiables, and that's what's going to drive your conversation. Let's take a step back, right? Because this is also breakup to boot up. I went on to the boot up part. Let's take a step back to the breakup part. This is where you are establishing what you want, and you're reflecting on the fact that that person was either unwilling or unable to fulfill it. Remember, I talked about the first step in moving on is being able to know exactly what you're looking for, because then you'll realize that that person wasn't it. And then in your mind, this is more mind over emotion, you're going to come to the realization that, yeah, I liked him, I loved him, whatever, but he really didn't have what I wanted. It's kind of like talking to my ladies. You ever get your hair done and you have a vision for what you want it to look like? You even have a photo and the stylist does something different and it's nice, but it's not what you wanted. And so you're a little disappointed. Now, it's not that the hair doesn't look good. Maybe it doesn't look good on you. He's not a bad guy. He's just not the right fit for you. But once you get clear on the fact that this person is not what you want, and he or she was either unwilling or unable to deliver, it's going to help you to move on. The second side of this is also going to help to drive your conversation and your vetting process when you do get back on the dating scene. Okay? What do these SMART goals look like? The question around SMART goal or SMART relationship goals is, how do you envision your life with your partner? Those are the goals. I envision us raising our children in the suburbs. I am a part-time employee, or I have my business part-time. I'm also part-time at home. What is the vision, right, that you have for your life with your partner? This is not an opportunity to describe the person themselves. The opportunity to describe the person themselves goes in the non-negotiables. Let me tell you, do not write down a salary. If you write down a salary, you're wasting your time. Somebody can make $400,000 a year and be broke as a joke. How many times we hear about these NBA players going broke after making millions of dollars, right? Or Mike Tyson not managing his money properly and owing money to the IRS, or what's the other one? The guy that played Blade from the 90s, the dark-skinned actor, going to jail, right? Salary itself means nothing. Do not put it on the list. You can say financially sound, right? Or financially intelligent, but the salary alone, leave it off your list. I'm telling you, it's not reasonable. It doesn't make sense. Now let's talk about you back in the dating scene. This is break up to boot up. We're in the boot up part, okay? With dating, I highly recommend a two-pronged approach, both online and offline, both online and offline, both online and offline. My husband and I reconnected through Facebook. Now, Facebook has Facebook dating now. It wasn't through Facebook dating, but it was the internet that connected us. So this idea that using the internet to get what you want and everything else, you can get your cab, you can get your food, you can get your clothes, you can get this training, right? You can get everything else off the internet, but meeting somebody online is just beyond you. You're putting your own limiting beliefs in place. You don't actually want to find somebody. You're making excuses. Oh, well, Alison, I was on the apps and all the dudes are trash. You weren't on the right apps. Your profile wasn't optimized, right? You didn't know exactly what you wanted in a mate. You didn't have clear photos of you and only you, right? You didn't have this recipe that I have for the bio, your name, something that you like to do, and why you're on the app. Why are you there, right? Some of you have written, yeah, my name is Tiffany, I'm from Queens, and don't send me no messages if you're an F-boy. You're a negative Nancy, so now you're gonna attract it, right? You've written on the app, hi, my name is Tiffany, I'm from the Bronx, and I have 7 kids, and if you're not trying to be a father to my kids, then, even though you might feel like that, but this is not the place, right? And then maybe on your profile, you didn't use my recipe right here, which is the prompt sandwich. So on a dating app, in most apps, not Facebook dating and not a few others, but most apps will have prompts. It'll be like drop down questions that you can fill in on your profile. The prompt sandwich looks like this. You're gonna start soft. You're gonna choose a question that's easy, easy, easy. It's gonna be something nerdy about me, something soft, something comical, something easy, something feminine, something laughable, right? My 3rd grade teacher would say this about me, soft. Then the next prompt is gonna be hard. And by hard, I mean you're gonna be straight and to the point as to why you're here. Not nasty, not masculine, not saying a negative, don't message me if the positive. So this one's gonna be your question around why you're here or what romance looks to you or what a non-negotiable is. I've seen that question 1,000 times on Bumble and Tinder and some other ones, right? That's the hard. It's gonna be the romantic question that talks about romance, that talks about what you're looking for, that goes for the jugular without being nasty. Then the last one is soft again, nice and easy. We'll get along if you enjoy reruns of Martin. Something along those lines. So soft, not romantic, nothing to do with romance, nothing to do with anything. Easy, feminine, laughable, comical. Hard, relationship, straightforward, telling you what I'm looking for without being nasty. Then soft again, light and easy. That is the formula. Okay? So again, we're on the boot up part. In-person interactions are important too. And especially now that it seems like we're relatively in a post-COVID world, you can go out, you need to go out. You must go out. I don't care if it's cold. I live in New York City, it's cold for 6 months out the year, suck it up. You're gonna go to whatever outdoor events, whatever indoor events, whatever social events, you're gonna go. You're gonna go to parties, you're gonna go to brunches, you're gonna go to, there's something in New York City called the Kwanzaa crawl, right? Like you're just gonna be around like-minded people. You're gonna go to museums and you're gonna go to art shows and you're gonna go to galleries and you're gonna go. And you're not gonna make an excuse why you can't go find a babysitter, stay up a couple extra hours to study, I don't care, right? You are gonna go out. You're gonna keep those groups small. And I should actually change this language. It's not a group, it's a pair. You're either going out by yourself or you are going out with a person, a wing woman or a wingman. And by the way, when I say wingman, that means I'm only talking to gentlemen because a woman should never have a wingman. I don't care if he's obviously super younger than you, obviously super older than you. I don't care if he looks gay, whatever that might look like for you. Oh, obviously this is my best friend. Nope. A wing woman for a woman, a wing man for a man. The same thing for the gentleman, but the gentlemen have smartened up and, oh no, that's just my cousin. No, sis. Men will assume that you're man, as they should, and they will keep their distance and be respectful, as they should, okay? So not a small group, either a pair or by yourself. Monitor your nonverbals. If you have a resting bitch face, apologies for the curse word, you got one of these faces, you got a classic New York face, the screw face, what we call it. Clearly, I'm giving you the impression right now that I don't want you to talk to me. Right? Clearly, I'm giving you the impression right now Now I don't want you to talk to me. Y'all can see this, right? You have to monitor your nonverbals. Instead, I'm sitting upright. Let me close my legs behind this desk, right? My chest is out and open, smiling, talking with friends, laughing, right? This is the energy that I want to be approached. I'm not crossing my arms and looking stank. I've opened up my chest, right? My back is not, well, my back is to the door right now, but if there's a door in a restaurant, my back is not to the door. I'm pivoting, I'm engaging, I'm smiling. This looks like someone who wants to be approached. I'm not doing this because my mama has taught me that if somebody's on the phone, you don't interrupt them. You don't want to put yourself in a position where anybody is afraid to approach you, unless it's someone who's undesirable, which you will deal with another training, right? Monitor your nonverbals and slow down. Now, again, as a New York City girl, that's a lot easier said than done. But if you're in a rush, anyone who knows how to read social cues will not slow you down because you're in a rush. Slow down. If and when you can, slow down. When you're in a supermarket, slow down. When you're in a laundromat, slow down. Take your time because it just makes sense. Why would I want to interrupt you and bother you if you're clearly busy, okay? Ladies, do some of the approaching. You will be okay. You will not die. God will not strike you down if you approach some guys. You can say, hi, my name is. How are you? Are you new to the neighborhood? Is this the first time you visited this restaurant? You've had the eggs. I had the French toast. I wish I would have gotten the eggs. Was it good? Do some approaching. Have some conversation. You will be okay. Even if he says, I'm married. Good. Him telling me that he's married has now reminded me that there are good men out there who will not talk to a woman if they're married. Okay, it's a rejection. You will be fine. You will not die. Look at these guys. They get rejected 24/7. They okay. You will be okay. When you are approached or you do the approaching, you make it short and sweet, right? You're not going to sit there at the bar for 2 hours and talk unless you're like really into each other, right? Like really. Don't push the convo more than it needs to be. You do your light interaction. You find out where they are, who they're from, what their name is, blah, blah, blah. Exchange Instagram handles, exchange phone numbers, and you move on, okay? And then you want to transition to the phone quickly or Instagram handles, whatever. I'm not standing there talking to you for 2 hours and then I don't have your info. Get the info, have as much convo as you want to have. I recommend short and sweet, and then you keep it moving. Okay? So now, guys, you have a choice. We have two directions, are the only two directions that I will stand for. I will only give you two choices. You can take this information that I've provided. You can take this information I provided. You can act on it for the free 99. You can get the results that you want. You can start dating again. You can find the partner you deserve, and I will be elated. And you better DM me and say, hey, Alison, I was on your training. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm feeling so much better. This is what I've done. I'm gonna start dating. I wanna hear that because that's still a testimonial for me, whether or not you buy a thing, right? So you have two choices. One is to take the information I've given you and run with it and do what you can with it and find success in it, right? Or you can do like my clients here, and you can decide to, when we talked about investing in yourself, a part or a whole of that investment could be with me in my coaching program. This is one of my clients here, right? She says, so I hopped on the phone with her. I was very hesitant at first, or a little hesitant at first, but after speaking with her and seeing how real and down to earth she was, hey, I decided to invest in myself and the program. 5 weeks in, I'm going on dates with qualified men that I vetted and met through Match. And now I'm exclusively dating a great guy. On our third date, he flew me to Miami. 1 day trip with no pressure. You know what she's saying, right? When she says 1 day trip with no pressure, meaning it wasn't overnight, which means it wasn't a hotel, which means his intention was not to. It wasn't an easy process, but the talks that we had and the things that I learned from Alison gave me the tools to date confidently and realize what I deserve in a partner. I'm so glad I decided to invest. If there's anyone who's on the fence, stop the hesitation and just do it. Alison will help you find the partner that you deserve, okay? It's another one. This was 2 years ago, year and a half ago, right? This was like right in the height of COVID, and they took a nice brunch. They went on a date. She started dating for the first time after 2 years of breaking up with her child's father. This was one of her first dates, 2 years. Now, again, how much of it is them and how much of it is you? Okay, she had a great date. Hasn't been on one in 2 years. Now she is, right? So let's talk about this program and what I have to offer. So it's called From Breakup to Boot Up, right? And it is my coaching program. How it breaks down is that I offer 6 weeks of weekly 1-hour sessions through Zoom like this. It wouldn't be exactly like this. It would be us, like, right? Not a huge group. And then I offer 6 weeks of unlimited access for support. So the 6 weeks has a curriculum. I call it my 6-week intensive. There is a full list of benefits that we're about to go through that shows you what I do with my clients to get them through the breakup and then start them on the dating scene to get booed up, okay? That's what the 6 weeks looks like. Then the second set is unlimited access of support. You have my number. You can WhatsApp me, you can Instagram me, you can email me, anything. Alison, he came over, I let him in, I backslid, I don't know what to do. Alison, I'm finally going on this first date. I'm nervous. I haven't been on a date in 6 months. I don't know what to do. So it's you reaching out to me. I have some clients who reach out 3 to 4 times a week. I have some folks I never hear from again until they're engaged. Okay. What are the benefits? So the first thing is I teach you how to detach yourself from your ex based on your personal circumstances. So again, I've been talking in generalities because there are so many of you and only one of me, right? So if you're a parent, do this. If you're single, do that. But everyone has their own personal circumstances that makes breaking up not as easy, perhaps, as I've illustrated, or easier. So I work with you one-on-one to teach you how to detach yourself from an ex based on your personal experiences, okay? From there, I show you how to reflect on where you went wrong so you don't make the same mistakes over and over again. Because again, remember, it's not really about the ex. It has more to do with you. Daddy issues, mommy issues, fear. Not really them. They wasn't all that, believe me, okay? I help clients to build confidence so they feel prepared to begin dating again with intention and focus. That's breakup. Now we're in the boot up part, okay? I teach you how to navigate the dating scene successfully this time so that you can find the partner that you deserve. And the last piece is I emotionally and mentally prepare you to commit to this new partner so you can build the family that you want, the legacy that you want, and the lifelong love that you are looking for. Okay, so who is this program not for? Because it's important that we know we have to figure out who is for and who's not for. So if you still want to be attached to your ex and you don't want to move on, if you don't really want it, this isn't for you, right? If you're not interested in being in a committed relationship with a partner, like in the future, you just don't want it, this isn't for you. If you are not prepared to face your fears and to undo your old belief system, this is not for you. And if you aren't ready to take action and accountability for the role that you play in the decisions that you make for your life, then this program is not for you. Okay, so my calendar is open for the next 8 days, I believe. So I want you to, if you're interested, if you're ready to take those steps, if you feel like you need additional guidance and support other than what we've already covered, I want you to go ahead, click the link in my bio, schedule that call by going to Calendly. I think it's the 4th button that's in my bio. You can go to bookalison.com, click the link there for the 4th button to schedule that call, okay? If you feel like you can use this information and run with it, go on right ahead. If you feel like you can use the information I provided and you want to see, that's fine too, okay? You can connect with me with a free call. So the call is a discovery call. You're not owed to anything. It's not you're going to get on this call and you have to pay. However, you know the price and you know what I have to offer. So I would respect, as a fellow professional, right, that if you're not prepared to make the steps and make the payment, then use the freebies until you are. So you can click the link in my bio and Instagram, on Twitter, or anything. You can also go to my website, alignwithalison.com, or you can go to bookalison.com. Both of the information is there for you if you're ready to take that next step, okay? And I'd like to thank you for giving me your Saturday morning, your Saturday afternoon to teach, to help, and to guide you. Whether or not you invest, I am here to support you however I can. So at this time, I'm gonna stop my share. And I am going to ask if you have any questions about the information that I've shared or any questions about the program itself. Please raise your hand. I am not leaving this chair until I answer every single person's question. I don't care how long we're on here, okay? So again, if you have any questions about the information I've shared or the program in itself, please raise your hand. And then I'm going to ask you to unmute, or unmute you. Actually, I'll unmute you. And please let me know what your question is. Okay. So I'm going to start with Denise. Denise, I'm going to unmute you now. And please let me know what question you have about what I've shared or about the program itself. Let me see. Denise, you might have to, oh, yeah, okay, it's good now. Go ahead, Denise.
No questions at this time.
Okay, so then I'll lower your hand. Thank you. Grace, your hand is raised. I don't know if it was raised from earlier.
No, it's raised now.
Okay.
So my question is, whenever you said to completely cut them off, what if you have things together, such as a car or student loans, where eventually you're going to have to communicate with them in the future? So that's the only reason I've completely stopped dating, because I know I'm going to have to talk to this ex again in the next couple of months or whatsoever. So they're going to be in my mind.
Why can't we get rid of the car? Why can't we sell the car, especially now, because cars are going for like 24% higher than their actual value during COVID. So why can't we sell the car and then split the proceeds?
So he doesn't want to sell the car. He wants to keep the car, but in order to switch the car over to his name, he would have to work on his credit first. So it's a timing thing.
And both of your names are on the car?
No, just my name.
Just your name. You really want to know what I would do?
Take the car back,
I'd
but
take
that's
the car.
Nina.
Now, if both of your names, I have to be, this is me, right? So now I'm taking off my training hat and just talking to you like a regular person, which I always do, but whatever. I don't give a F about his desire to keep this car. Now, if both of your names on the car, you were gonna have me stumped. I don't give a F. You better take that car and sell it. I don't care if you gotta go to the cops to retrieve it. You better get that car. If you want to be kind, like I said, like I literally traded my car in recently. This is why I know, like on average across the country, used cars values have increased by 24%. If you had a good relationship and you like him, or he really needs the car and he's a decent person and he's been paying on the car, and I would even sell it and like give him what he paid for. Like I'm not fiending for the money, but I am absolutely not going to slow down my love process.
What about the student loans that I signed for him?
Okay, so now that's the case where both of your names are on it.
Yes.
Okay, have you done any research on how to remove your name from his student loans? Because that shouldn't be credit based.
No, I've been a dummy, really.
Girl, bye. You're not a dummy. You've invested the time in trying to find a resolution. I would Google, I would call the company, because I'm sure you have like the account number. I would call a lawyer friend. I would find out what you need to do to remove your name.
Okay.
Yep, do whatever it takes to get your name off. Do you mind me asking how much it is?
I think it's up there in the 20,000s. We went to a private school together.
It's okay. I got student loans of $30,000. Ain't no judgment. I was hoping Biden was going to wipe away, but that didn't work out for me. I would do whatever it takes to find out what to do to get off.
Okay.
Yep, do it, and almost whatever it takes. 25K is a lot. If it was 8K, I was going to tell you to pay it off. Honest to goodness. Like if it was a couple of thousand, I would have said I would rather pay a couple of thousand and be attached to someone that my heart hurts thinking about it. Like my heart health is more important. People die of broken hearts. Like my heart health is more important than a couple of thousand. 25K. Let's do research. Let's Google. Let's call a lawyer friend. Let's call the company itself. What can be done to remove your name? And I know this is being recorded, and I hope that no one submits it. If it's as simple as him signing a document, I would find a way to get his signature on that document.
Okay.
If that's what it takes. I don't care what it takes. Get off there. Minus paying the 25K off yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Jalan?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Jalan. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, July.
Okay, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah. So the question I have is, I'm just curious how you have had experience working with anyone deaf or hard of hearing.
Have I ever worked with anyone who was hard of hearing?
Hard of hearing and deaf, mostly deaf.
I haven't had the pleasure yet. I've worked with people who have had other disabilities, but not specifically, no.
Okay. So do you think that would be, do you think that, I guess my question is that, do you think the person that's deaf will be able to benefit from your program than another individual? Because the deaf world is very different from the hearing world, and the dating scene is so different. It's a huge challenge. So I'm just wondering what would be your suggestion about that?
Yes, excellent question. So as I said, I haven't had the pleasure yet. However, I've worked with other people who have had disabilities, and yes, it is a different animal. Like there is some different elements of it in regards to, you know, being concerned about rejection from people, people understanding the lifestyle, the struggle, what have you. And so it is different. However, I don't think that it would be so different, so much so that I wouldn't be able to work with someone who has those quote unquote limitations. I can tell you that I've worked with people who, I'm trying to say a way to say this nicely and not compare it, but who are physically disabled in wheelchairs. And I've worked with people who have other things that may make dating difficult for them. That I kind of don't want to say it out loud, but trust me, things that have made dating way more challenging. And I've had success with them too. So I can't imagine it not working, the system not working for you. Is it going to be a little bit more complicated? Absolutely, but nothing that you and I can't tackle together.
Okay, so for the individual person, how will you be able to communicate effectively with them if you don't know American Sign Language?
Oh, okay. So what I would say is if the client is not in a position to hear me, even if they have any kind of aids or things of that nature, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So then, yeah, I guess that's how you said hard of hearing versus deaf. I mean, I have closed captioning. I have workbooks, but I would imagine if this person could not hear me, like could not hear my voice, then yeah, that would be something that would probably make the sessions not valuable to them, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Nia, your hand is raised. Nia, you still there?
Can you hear me?
Nina, my bad. Yeah. Hi, Nina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You're very, very low. See if I can turn up the volume. My volume's all the way up. I'm listening.
Well, thank you, Alison, for this platform that you've been blessed to able to provide us some great information on. My question is, and I think I put it in the chat, how long should we gauge dating again? Do we base it off of how long our relationship was, or how do we kind of test ourselves to see if we're ready to date again? I think me personally, I am a 40-year-old woman, single, do desire to have a family, and I feel like, as you said, time is not on my side, if you will. And there's the strong desire to have a family, and I feel like there's this rush, right? So I just want to know kind of what that balance is.
Mm-hmm. So to be honest with you, there's no hard and fast answer to that. First of all, look, actually, there is a hard and fast answer to your second question. Does it depend on the amount of time you're with the other person? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've been with this person for 10 years. So the calculation is I have to be sad for 10%. Nope. So there is no specific amount of time in accordance to how long the relationship was or how long it lasted. But the other part that's not straightforward, though, that I can't answer is how long it should be. I can tell you that for me, anything longer than 3 months of feeling, like emotional feelings, like feeling it, right? Like your heart drops when you see their image, you cry at night. Anything after 3 months, I would recommend that there should be some kind of intervention. right?
Mhm.
That intervention can be YouTube videos, that intervention could be ebooks, that intervention could be a coach or a therapist, anything after 3 months. But there isn't, we were together for 10 years, so that means I have to be single for a year before going out. Absolutely not. You go out when you're ready. Now, the question is, how long should it take for one to get ready? Anything more than 3 months of feeling pain. And now that doesn't mean that you might not have flashbacks and feel a little bit sad about the times that you spent together, right? Or a little bit of regret about things you could have done differently. But if you are going through an emotional feeling after 3 months, there should be some level of intervention. Books, YouTube, podcasts. Next level of intervention would be a person to come in to help you to process those emotions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the last piece I want to add on to that, Nina, is that also doesn't mean that on important days, like an anniversary or a birthday, if you felt sadness on important dates, that doesn't mean that, oh no, I'm behind and it's been 3 months. Alison said it's been 3 months. Like if it's what would have been your 15th anniversary and it's been 3 years, that makes sense. That's not unreasonable. It doesn't mean that you're still attached, because it's a remembrance of a time that was, right? But if you're going through on a daily basis for more than 3 months of like significant emotional pain, that's when you need some level of intervention.
I find that men move on way quicker than women, and I think it's because we are so hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're hard on ourselves, and I don't think we forgive ourselves so easily, because I feel like men move on without, they move on seamlessly when the situation is over. And I think like I said, we have a huge issue with forgiving ourselves because of this expectation for us to be, perfect, and we were supposed to be the ones to stick it out. And if it doesn't work, we put more of the blame on ourselves. And I think most of our healing process, we prolong our healing process. Men don't.
I agree. I agree that we prolong our healing process. What I will say, though, is that I think we're being a little bit presumptuous about men and their emotional state, because culturally, socially, they've been taught to hide their feelings. So just because they're in a relationship again, right, or even got married, like, oh my God, you got married, or even had a baby, doesn't mean that they've necessarily emotionally moved on from that former relationship. So they may have moved on publicly, but it doesn't mean that they're not hurting. I think the way that we process our emotions in the way that they do, and again, that could be biological, it could be social, is different. But I'm not going to automatically say that they have moved on emotionally and they're prepared and they're healed. They might be moving from relationship to relationship just as hurt as they were before.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Diana? Diana, you have your hand raised. Did you want to ask a question? All right, Diana, you can't unmute. Oh no. Ruby, can you check into Diana's muting situation and see if there's anything that we could do to unmute her on our end? In the meantime, while Ruby works on that, I'm gonna go to Janelle. Janelle?
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I just wanted to say I've been following you, I think, since the year began, because my friend introduced me to you. And I'm now about to have my third child. I'm actually just like mentally, physically disconnected, but I just wanted to know like what would be an appropriate timing, because like literally I haven't had my baby yet. So what would be more of an appropriate timing for me to say, okay, yeah, I want to get back out on the dating scene? Like,
So I can tell you that this has actually been a lot of a point of conversation in the dating and relationship world about pregnant women and dating. And I'll tell you what my opinion is. My opinion is that we should definitely wait till after the baby's born. And one of the reasons is because we don't even know where you really are emotionally. You know how it is, a pregnant woman, their emotions are everywhere. I don't know if you're really sad, really mad, really happy, really glad. Like, you don't even know that, right? And even after you give birth to the baby, your emotions are still everywhere. It takes months to regulate it. So we can't even make the most sound decisions in your life other than caring for that child and your other children right now. So, so first of all, we want to deliver, right? Then we want to establish some kind of stability in the home. There's a schedule, the baby's sleeping, you know, your babysitters are in play. If you go back to work, you're back at work, like your household is organized. Because how can you begin to build with anybody else if your life is in disarray? And when you have a newborn baby, your life by default, even if you had a dad in the house, is going to be in disarray, right? Can't sleep, can't eat, you can't even bathe. Can't even use the bathroom on your own. So I would wait until your life, until you feel like your life is back to normal as it can be. Your older kids are in school. You have your baby who's on a schedule. Your house is starting to be back organized, clean, and functional. If you're going back to work, you're back. There's a regimen and there's an order in your life. Because if you don't have a regimen and an order in your life, then how could you add to somebody else's? A lot of our conversation is about us wanting the partner that we deserve. It's just because I don't have enough time really to talk about us also being the partner that person would want, right? And so we don't want to introduce anyone to a messy life. And if anyone wanted to be introduced to a messy life, I would question their intention.
Yeah, okay.
I would, so if that looks like, and this is just, I'm not a mom yet, right? So if that looks like 8 months after the baby's born, a year after the baby's born, but you need to be back on track and have some kind of order and structure in your life before you can even attempt to add anything to someone else's life. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Shanice?
Hi, Allison. I'm such a big fan and I love your work. I just had a question about the non-negotiables. How soon do you let your potential date know your non-negotiables when you're speaking to them? Never.
Never. Sorry to be so dramatic. Never. I told my husband my non-negotiables when we were in love. So we were already boyfriend and girlfriend in a committed relationship. And the reason why you never want to tell them all, because I did mention, like, if you're creating a dating profile, one of the questions that's on Bumble and Tinder and a whole bunch of others is, my non-negotiables are, you give 1 or 2. You're never going to share it all because you don't want anyone to come and present as someone they are not. So if Shanice says to me, let's say I am a dishonest coach, right? And I'm just grimy. None of my programs work. I'm just here to take your money. And you say, Alison, I'm looking for a coach who's going to show up on time, who has systems in place, who has instructional videos, and who has testimonials. Then guess what? I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to have my testimonials. I'm going to present as everything that you said that you want because I'm looking to take advantage of you, right? So if you tell somebody exactly what you're looking for, and they're not an honest person, because I'm not going to pretend that the dating pool is full of ice cream. Like, no, some of it is full of shit. So I'm not going to give that person the opportunity to present as someone that they're not. I am not going to tell them everything that I'm looking for. When people ask that, because guys are getting hip, good and bad guys are getting hip to this, I'm going to just say, it's very important to me that whoever I date is family oriented and hardworking. Those are 2 of mine, by the way, family oriented and hardworking. That's 2 out of the 5. I'm not telling you all 5. Why? So you could pretend to be all 5, then I fall for you, and then I realize that you were full of it? So, like I said, literally, I told Andrew when he was my man, like we together. I said, by the way, I made this list of non-negotiables. I don't think I called it that at the time. I made this list of what I'm looking for, and you are all of them. He said, really, babe? I said, yes. And then I showed him, it was a picture that I wrote on loose leaf. I took a picture of the piece of paper. And I said, look, this is you. Boom, boom, boom. And we laugh about it. And sometimes I send it to him as a sweet note, like as a reminder of why I'm so happy with him. But no. Do not tell anybody that you're dating. Not all of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Thank you. Christelle?
Hey, Allison, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
We've talked before. I'm Chris. and everything. And I'm getting over the ex, and I started dating, but I'm having a rough time vetting some of these men that are around my age. I'm
Mhm.
in my 50s. I give them my number because I think, we're on a dating app, and I think, okay, this person has potential. But then when they call me, it's like he has not healed. He still has issues with his children. Or I talked to a man recently who was cursing through, half the conversation. So I'm thinking, you were just talking about non-negotiables. I don't want to be real negative in my dating profile, but I'm trying to figure out how to vet them before they even respond to me or
You're
what
asking
have
for
you.
too much, Chris.
Oh,
It's a process. This is a
okay.
process. So if you are able to cut them off by phone call number one, you have mastered the process. You
Oh,
think
okay.
you're,
Oh, okay. Good.
yep, you've mastered it. There is no like a fail-proof way to create your profile that's going to eliminate everybody. No foolproof way. So the way that you construct your profile, you're still going to remain positive because that's not who you are, Chris. You are not a negative Nancy. And so you're still going to remain positive. You're going to share what your interests are. You're going to make it clear what you're looking for. In your prompt sandwich, you're going to be soft and funny. Oh, my third grade teacher said I talk too much. Whatever the cute, I like to watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, whatever. You're going to stay cutesy, right? Make it clear what you're looking for twice. I said that. So in your bio, you say what you want. I'm looking for a long-term commitment. I'm looking for my lifelong partner. You're going to make that clear once. You do it again in your prompts, right? When you answer that hard question, the meat, the middle of the sandwich, that is going to help. You don't even know how much that helped you to vet, because there are going to be so many guys who briefly scan because nobody reads. Stop saying men don't read. Women don't read either. Trust me, okay? No one reads. They're going to do a quick scan. They might have skipped the first time when you said, I want a committed relationship. They caught it the second time and they never messaged you. You don't even know how many people you avoided. But there is it might be conversation number 3. It might be date number 1. By date number 1 is when you figured it out, then you have done an excellent job. There is no 100% way.
Well, these were both conversations, the first conversations on the phone. So, yeah.
Remember,
Okay.
dating is data. You are collecting information. If there's no way that you're going to have a 100% success rate, that only the guys who reach out to you are going to be perfect matches, just like you're not for them, right? So he's talking to his friends and say, oh, I saw this lady, her name was Crystal, she was so pretty on her profile, but I was just being myself. These women say they want us to be ourselves, and I was using some cuss words and she had the audacity to have an attitude about it. You're not a good match for him either. He wants a cussing girl. Does that mean that you're not a good person? No, you're not a good match for him, just like he's not a good match for you.
Okay. Thank
Make
you.
sense? You're doing good.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. Sharonda?
Hi, Alison.
Hi, Sharonda. How are you?
I'm well, yourself.
Thank you. Sharonda, I think you muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you know how, like, as a woman, you can be in a relationship, right? And like, there's always somebody waiting in the lineup after a relationship is over. There's like always someone waiting. So what happens if you've never given your time to have that time to yourself alone? What should you do? Do you think you should just continue dating or actually give yourself some time?
Do you feel like you need time to be alone?
Um,
Or is that what you've heard people have said in the past, and so you feel like you should just do it?
Yeah, I've never spent, like, you know how some people say, oh, I've been by myself for a year, no dating, no sex, no this, no that. Like, I don't know. Is that like ideal? Like, to give yourself some time after you get out of a relationship?
I think there should be time to do some reflection so that you don't end up making the same mistakes over and over again. But if that time is 2 months, then that's okay. Your time shouldn't be 2 years.
Right. I never thought so, but I'm like,
and from a practical perspective, because all women don't want kids and all women can't have kids, but if you want children, you can't spend 5 years on your own trying to figure out. Sorry.
Right.
You were saying something, Sharon? I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was listening to you.
So
Yeah.
if you feel as though we're not going by what other people say, oh, you know, everybody says that you should take some time for yourself. If you feel like you need some time, if you feel like it, then take it. I would not take, well, you're talking to the wrong one. I'm not taking 6 months. Now, mind you, I'm 35 years old and without any children, and I want them. I'm not taking 6 months. I've done my couple of weeks. I did my 6 weeks. I've cleaned out my closet. I've restructured some things in my business. I'm organizing my life in my mind. I'm getting some things done. I'm taking myself on some dates, and I'm moving on.
Right.
Now, if you are 25, you're not pressed for time. If you're 55, you're not pressed for time in terms of children, but you're pressed for time in terms of life. And if you want to get involved and have a life partner to share those dreams and those memories and those, you know, lifelong things with, then you need to get on it. I am not a proponent of you got to be by yourself because people say so. If you feel like, you know what, I'm tired of cleaning up after some guy. I need to clean. I'm tired of picking up somebody's socks. I'm tired of cooking for somebody. I just want to walk around my house half naked without having to do blank. Then do that because you want to, not because people say.
Right. And what about like the time on sex? Like you meet someone, how much time should you give before you decide to have intercourse with that person? Does that make a difference?
You're asking hard questions because I really just, it's based around your own values.
Right.
Right.
But do you think it makes a difference whether you give it up early or late?
I would not recommend. What's early? First date? No.
Like no, not that early. Not a one night stand. Like a month and a half, 2 months.
It should be months, in my opinion. But again, this is not a professional opinion.
Right.
It's just based on my own personal belief system. It should be some months.
Some months. Okay.
Again, if you are more religious, then it might be marriage, it might be engagement, and there's no judgment on that. But I'm definitely not the first night. Absolutely not. And even if there are plenty of stories of people who made it through, I am just too afraid. I don't know what you got.
Right, exactly.
Remember I was speaking to the young lady earlier when I said I've worked with clients who have had some difficulties. I have a client who has herpes.
Oh my God.
You don't know what people have early on in the game. So for nothing else, if it's not for religious reasons, which by the way, she's dating successfully, there are apps for people who have STIs. Side note, there's apps for everything. But point is that there's just no way for you to be able to judge. And I don't want to feel like I was used or abused. So as a result, I'm going to hold out.
Right. All right. That's great. That's a great answer.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you. Shaquana?
Hello. Hi, Alison. Good afternoon,
I love your
everyone.
photo. You're so pretty.
Oh, thank you. So I am in the dating scene and I'm on a dating app and I actually met this guy, but he actually lives in New York and I live in Connecticut. So my question is, you know, we've been talking for some time, but how much time do I give it, you know, in order for us to actually meet up? Is there a timeline? Do I give it some time? I'm learning to be a little bit patient and not be in the driver's seat and just kind of take the back seat. So how long should I give it before I say, you know what, you're waiting too long for us to actually connect in person? Like we talk on the phone, we FaceTime, do we, you know, text, but it's kind of like I officially want to meet up to see what's up.
How far away do you guys live? Like in hours?
It's about 2 hours.
A 2-hour drive. How long have you been talking?
2 months.
2 months. And this is only you've transitioned from the app to the phone, right?
Yep. So we'll FaceTime, text message, phone calls. And so we're no longer on the app and we're using our phones.
And he has a car and you have a car?
Yes. And so
that was 6 weeks too long, Shaquana.
Okay.
2 hours ain't that bad. And worst come to worst, y'all could be halfway. And like, I don't know what halfway is. I'm in New York. I'm in Brooklyn, but y'all could have met in the Bronx. Like,
right.
No.
And I've offered that. I think my biggest thing is that I refuse to, you know, at first I was like, I like to get up and get in my car and just drive. New York is right there. So at first I was like, I'll go there and meet him. But I just felt like for me wanting to have patience and take the back seat, I need him to solidify the date and time that we're going to meet and make the effort.
So I am a proponent of not being as traditional as some of us would like. And I mean, this is probably a longer conversation for another day, but I feel like many times people, both men and women, want it both ways. We want tradition, but we want to be modern at the same time, and it lacks balance, right? I would not be against you suggesting, like, hey, I'm free. This was, by the way, this was 6 weeks ago. Now I'm over him. But
Okay.
I wouldn't be against you saying, hey, I'm free next weekend. Would you like to get together? Period. Well, I guess question mark, would like to get together, right? After that, I'm not organizing a whole thing. I did my part by saying, would you like to get together? But let me tell you, I am a believer of you getting in your car, only because, and even if that meant like meeting halfway, only because I don't trust nobody. Like, I watch a lot of Law and Order. Like, I'm not trying to have you meet me in front of my building, ring my bell, open the door like a real gentleman should. Like, I am for, let's meet in a place that works for the both of us. But he hasn't talked about taking you out at all in 2 months.
So he has. I mean, so he says that he's working on it. He says right now, what he says is that he works for the post office. And so, you know, he has been working overtime. Like, he took the initiative and asked me, like, what do I want, you know, create a Christmas list. And I'm like, it's kind of annoying for me because it's like, we're having these FaceTimes, we're talking on the phone, we'll text, but it's like the actual meeting up piece hasn't happened yet. And I am a single mom. I have one child. And so my son was actually with his dad this week. And I opened up the door and said, you know, my son's with his dad, you know, I'll be free, you know, let me know if your schedule pretty much aligns. And nothing came about.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
Nah, I'm
over
done with him. I don't care about him working for the post office. I don't care about the overtime. He has to have a day.
Okay.
And even if he does, let's say he works 7 days, then if he likes you enough and he's prepared to take those next steps, then he would sacrifice some sleep. Because
Okay.
I want to spend time with this girl. I like her.
Okay.
I don't necessarily, I wouldn't cut him off per se. You don't have to. But I would definitely start talking to other people. Like, absolutely. Are you talking to other people already?
So that's the thing. Like, I'm still on the dating apps, but I just haven't come across someone that I guess like I'm interested in. Like, you know, I'll do a couple of phone calls, and after the first phone call, if I'm not interested, I'll block them, keep it moving. But I haven't found anyone. I'm open to it, but just haven't found that person.
What's causing you to block them?
The one conversation I had with the guy, he was 40 years old. I'm 32. He said, we'll go out on a date. He said, after the date, we can come back and cuddle. Absolutely not. So that was a turnoff for me. So little things like that. Or I started talking to a guy on his profile. He didn't, you know, we were talking, and then I noticed also too on the dating app, they like to move from the profile to exchanging numbers. So, you know, okay, fine. Then in the profile, you say you have one child. When I speak with you, you have 4 children.
Okay, got it. I just want to make sure that you are dismissing these people for reasonable things, and those are all 100% reasonable.
Okay.
But back to the particular issue at hand, and then I'm going to move on. This guy, he's looking for a pen pal. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not in a position to invest the kind of time that you deserve. And as a result, move on.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
If it were me, I'd cut him off 100%, but I'm mean. So you don't have to cut him off 100%, but you should definitely continue to do what you've been doing, having those conversations.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is it Kelly?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yes, it's Kelly. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
So my question is in regards to the dating app. So I've been out of the relationship with my child father for almost 2 years.
Mhm.
I'm usually I'm not the aggressive type. I'm more so I let people approach me. My best friend say I'm too nice. So she told me about dating app. So I get on a dating app and I'm not sure. I'm new to the dating app. So this is all new. Like,
Mhm.
I'm like, do you pay for the dating apps? Like, do you just do the free apps? Like, am I choosing the right apps? Like, I'm just kind of lost.
Mm-hmm. So in regards to choosing the right apps for you, actually have a post on my Instagram that I want you to scroll back and find, or maybe I can DM it to you, that talks about how to choose the right dating apps, right? And it's a whole process. But in regards to paying for it or not, I am a staunch believer in you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. So I always recommend to my clients that you vet, you check out 3 of them, you create 3 free profiles, you put your photos, you put your bio part, you put your questionings, blah, blah, blah. See if you like the way that the app flows, like the actual app, if you like it, right? The way that the app works. See what the matches are relatively looking like. And within a week, you should pay for 2 out of 3 of them. Decide which 2 you want and pay for it. Because when you pay for it, you end up getting more access than if you didn't. And this is one of the most important decisions you'd make in your life. Imagine if you were buying a house and you went to go see the house, but they only let you see the first floor, you can't see the second. Hell no, I'm not gonna buy a house until I can see every floor. I wanna climb on the roof. I wanna see what the foundation looks like. I wanna get, again, dating is data. I wanna gather as much information as possible. As a result, I want full access. I'm gonna pay for it.
Okay.
So in regards to the how to choose an app, I'm looking now because it's like a pretty long thing.
Because I was on, what was it? Black, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
I think I was
posted my
Black.
story. Actually, I just posted it on my story on Instagram. So that you could find it easily. I don't want you to have to say your @ name if you didn't want to on here. But I just posted it on my stories. So if you go on Instagram, you can see it and then you can save it and read it later. And that's how you choose the right dating apps.
Okay, perfect.
For
Thank
you.
you.
Because it's going to vary depending on who you are and what you're looking for.
Okay.
Natasha C.
Hi, Allison. Good afternoon. Hi,
Good
everyone.
afternoon,
How are you?
Natasha. I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Oh, no problem. I've been following you for a long time, and I've been taking all your free trainings since the one you had in May, June, and I think in September. So this is all very helpful information. I had a question regarding the non-negotiables. I think I'm overthinking it. And so my question is, how do you narrow it down to 5? Because now I wrote down like a whole long list of different qualities and traits, and I don't know how to narrow it down to the 5 important things that have to be there.
Mm-hmm. So when I work with my clients on this homework, this is actually homework number 2 that we do in the program, is around your non-negotiables. What I do is I ask them to group them. So many times what happens is that we're using pretty much the same word to describe the same thing or the same way that we want to feel, or we want this person to make us feel, or whatever. So start grouping them. If you think there are words that are similar, then you put them together and literally Google it. Like Google the words and make sure that the definition that you have in your mind actually matches what you want this person to be or what you want this person to have. And then you'll come to the realization that perhaps you're using the same words over and over again, just synonyms, right? So you can eliminate those. Or you'll come to the realization that you've been defining it wrong, and that's actually not what it really means. It doesn't really depict what you want, and that will help you to eliminate. And I want you to go back to non-negotiable. So for instance, one of the non-negotiables that people like to put that they don't like, that I shut down, and I shut this down, right? When they talk to me about a guy being attractive, particularly, and you know what happens, what they say, height, right? It's got to be tall. What's tall? 6'1", 6'2", whatever. And I ask them, I say, how is the person's height going to directly impact the health and the fulfillment you have in that relationship? And they have nothing to say. The best thing it is that maybe he doesn't have to go up 3 steps on a ladder. He has to go up 2 steps on a ladder to change a light bulb. Maybe he can pass you the cereal that's on top of the fridge versus you having to get the step ladder. There is nothing about this man's height specifically that is going to impact your happiness in your relationship. So another way that you can eliminate is by going through each one that's on the list. And I want you to clarify for yourself, how is this thing going to directly impact my happiness in the relationship? And if it's not, that means it's not a non-negotiable, it's a want, which means it gets off your list, you cross it off. It's not a non-negotiable, it's a desire.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm thinking I have like reliable, dependable. Those are kind of like the same thing,
Right?
but that doesn't take precedence. Like my number one is fiscally responsible and financially stable. That's my number one, because a lot of the guys that I've come across or interacted with and been in a relationship with were not at all. Like I was the breadwinner. They had no job. They looked at me like, oh, you could pay for everything because you have a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like, that's a number one big thing for me. And so it's trying to fill in the blanks of the other one that's kind of hard with, okay, I need this, but can I leave this off as a like this is important, but should I put it on the list? I guess that's where it's tripping me up a little bit about it is important, but should it be on the list?
Right,
Or
so it's a
just have it as something?
non-negotiable, meaning
Yeah.
you cannot function in this potential relationship because you're using this to vet just people you're meeting. They're not in a relationship yet, right? Can I
Right.
live without this? Would I be depressed? Would I be sad? Would I be unfulfilled? Will I hate this person or hate me for choosing them if they don't have blank? This is the foundation. Absolute
Okay.
foundation.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna work on that. And like you said, grouping and kind of going through the list and saying yay, yay or nay.
Yep.
That way. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Diana?
Yay, you can hear me.
Yes, yes, yes. Hi.
Hi. I guess I have a layered question, but I think you had like a free ebook that I read about moving on, and I read it, and I feel like I can accept that I think one part you said like I love them, but it didn't work out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel that way, and I feel like I did try to move forward, like some of the other ladies share, like using dating apps, putting myself out there, and it just hasn't been very successful. Or maybe it has been because I think you said like if you realize the person, you know, like you're doing the vetting process or however you
Diana,
describe
can
it.
I interrupt you for a second real quick?
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure that what you said is what you meant. You just
Okay.
said, I went on the dating app so I can move on. Is that what you meant?
I get that might be part of the problem. Yeah,
So
well,
that's,
yeah.
that's what you meant. So good, so good. So see, we're doing some work here.
Yeah.
There is no part of my 5-step process that said start dating again in an effort to move on. I did say do things to distract you, but we're not going with, and I specifically did not say this, but I'm gonna say it now since you mentioned it. So the fastest way for you to get over somebody is to get under somebody else. That is not what we're gonna do.
True.
So do not use dating or use dating apps as a way to get over someone. Many times it will not work. And potentially, and this is another thing too, especially, I'm glad that as a woman you said this because there are some gentlemen that's on the call here. We talk about men using us, but imagine if the person that you're using to get over your ex really likes you, Diana. And the only reason you giving him a time of day is because you're using him as a distraction to get over the other guy. And when that comes about, and let's say you give the other guy a chance, the old guy, or you just realize, I really don't actually like this new guy. I'm just doing this, right? Imagine how they feel being thrown away. We're never, ever going to use dating or dating apps as a way to get over people.
True. I think that may have just came out. I don't know if I was like doing it intentionally.
Okay.
I think it just probably happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
But well, since you put it that way, what I don't want to say because I feel like it's sort of obvious but not obvious. Like At what point do you decide to just walk away? Because I feel like the issue is we have children together. We are still friends. We're co-parenting. Our communication is very open. But I do feel like I agree with what you said today on the call. Like, you have to cut down on any type of extra communication. But when I try to do that, like, I have actively said, like, don't text me telling me, like, he'll share great things that have happened. Like, let's say he got a promotion, like, I'm the person he talks to. Like, he
You
wants to
can't
share.
be that anymore. Does he have a new woman?
No.
He needs to find her. It hurts you, Diana. It hurts you. So if it hurts you to have this, so to speak, this so-called friendship, then his need to have someone to connect with, to share the good times, to share the bad times, that no longer, you're not together. So you can't. This is boundaries. I'm so glad that we have a great relationship for the kids, but it hurts me that I am your go-to. I am your fake girlfriend. I am your pseudo girlfriend. I get to be the person that you can turn to lean on or to share things with. But when it comes to the emotional connection, either he's unwilling or unable to deliver. That hurts me, and it's holding me back from finding someone that I can have that whole romantic relationship with. So you can't be that for him. Now, once you've moved on and you have that person, and if you still want to maintain a positive, healthy friendship outside of the co-parenting, then fine. But it is detrimental to you. You on this call with me on a Saturday. If he can't deliver, he can't deliver. He doesn't have the right to give you a part of it, the friend part, but not the boy part, right? One last question. Why are you guys not together?
I wanted the ultimate commitment. Like, I wanted marriage. And he never just flat out said, like, no, I don't want to marry you. I guess he said it without saying it. Like, I would keep expressing that that's what I wanted. And so since there was no movement, eventually I just said, well, we shouldn't be together.
Okay. And that hasn't changed?
No, like yeah.
Right? So that's how we were saying, like, how do you do it? You have to convince yourself that this is something you want, and you can either give up on it and say, you know what, marriage isn't that big of a deal to me. I'd rather just have him than be down the aisle, and that's fine, and that's your right. And there are plenty of people who are unmarried and they're perfectly happy. But it's one or the other. Either you decide that marriage is not as important as it used to be and try to work it out with him, or you decide that it is and you're sticking to your guns, and as a result, you have to draw the boundary. It hurts you to continue this relationship in this half-ass way. And so as a result, you have no other choice but to create this boundary that is, if it's not about the kids, please, you'll have to call someone else to share the good times and the bad times. It can't be me. It's all of me or only me as a co-parent. Those are the choices.
Okay.
It could be worse. You could have been one of those where if you're not going to be with me, then you can't even have the kids. So you give him choices, right? You give him choices. It can be all of me, which means marriage, or it can be me as a co-parent. I cannot be your friend, at least not right now.
Agreed.
Okay? All right, sunshine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Janelle, your hand is still raised. I don't know if you had another question.
Yeah, I had another question. So I've been told multiple times that I have a resting bee face.
Yes.
And like, even during the pandemic, like even my supervisors, who were other females, they would be afraid to approach me because I would give them this look like, I can't even describe it, but basically, like, I have a resting bee face. I'm not always aware of it because I'm always just about my business. Like, when I have like an agenda on my mind, like, that's just it. That's what I'm sticking to. I don't want no detours, and that's it. So it's like, you come in and talk to me in the middle of me getting something done, or like, while I'm with my kids, especially while I'm with my kids, I hate it. Or, like, whatever it is, it's just like, I give you this look and it's like, to stay away from me but it's not always like that. Sometimes I'm like really just zoned out because I know I have a schedule. to follow. You know, so how do I control that rest and be face? Because it's not always meant, you know, sometimes I'm just in my own thoughts and I'm just trying to get what I need to do done.
Yes. I can tell you what was advised to me. So when I went and got my master's degree in counseling, because that was my problem too. And you can't have a stink face when you're dealing with someone who's going through something, right? And so I have to be mindful of my face. What my professor told me is to literally go in the mirror and make different facial expressions. There's something in, I'm also a cheerleading coach. So there's something in cheerleading called facials. They tell the girls to make these faces while they're performing because it looks like they're having a good time, other than smiling, right? It's called AEIOU, right? So if you go in the mirror and you play with your face, like do different expressions, you will start to feel your muscles and you will get an impression of what your face feels like in the moment. You need to connect your face with your emotions, and that's what's not happening. Now, I'm telling you, this is something that takes months. I don't even know if it's really worth it. It was worth it for me professionally because as a counselor, I need to be able to hide my emotions. So it was worth it for me. But AEIOU, like feeling the muscles in your face will allow you to know when you're making the resting bee face and to stop you from doing so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna try that. I'm just getting tired of being told that, because this guy that I guess he wanted to talk to me, and you know, like we just became friends. Like it can't be no more than that. He just plays too much. He was like, you know, you intimidate me because you have a resting bee face, and I'm like, but I don't understand. Like you gotta let me know more. Like I want to know, like how does that intimidate you? And he's like, you just look like you always want to fight. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you know, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Number one, I'm Jamaican. Doesn't help that I was raised in Brooklyn. It just doesn't help all the time that, like, you know, I always have to be, I became a mom at 19. So I've always been in protect mode to protect my kids. So it just doesn't help a lot of things, but I really am going to try because, you know, I think that's going to be my thing if I don't work on it. And I want to work on everything as much as possible while I have the time.
Yep.
You know, just to work on it.
Yep. Okay. That's what I did. It helped me. No problem. No problem. And Jalan, do you have I'm about to wrap up this call. Do you have time to stay on? Jalan, you there? Hello.
Yes, I had a question.
Yes.
Did you just say my name?
Yes, Jalan, I was saying, do you have time? I'm taking this last question. I wanted to know if you had time to stay on after.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, good. Yes, and there was one other person that had a question. I lost your hand. Was it Nina?
Yes. Okay, Alison, I know you're wrapping up. I just wanted to get your overall thoughts and summary about the whole masculine, feminine debate when it comes to the state of Black men and women dating right now. It's been like a huge issue, I would say, or a huge topic of concern over the last year or so, about, you know, Black women operating more in their masculine and feminine, and that could be attributed to the reasons as to why we can't find a man or connect with a man is because we're too masculine.
So I think that there is some validity in that. I think there is some validity around the fact, and again, it's so funny because Jalan was just talking about she's Jamaican, she's from Brooklyn, she had, you know, having children young, she had to toughen herself. And so I think there is some validity in the fact that some women do present in a more masculine energy, which I did share earlier on the training, and how we need to work on that. However, I would counter that same idea as to there's a reason why we've had to lean into our masculine energy, right? And that has in part to do with society and in part to do with the position that we've been put in as Black people in America, where we have to be tough, right? We have to be mindful of the way that we present so that no one is looking to take advantage of us. If we're talking about the government, you're talking about the man, you're talking about a Black man, like whatever it is, I think that we've been put in a position where we have to present as more masculine in order to protect ourselves. So I don't think that is one person's problem or the other, or one person's fault or the other. I think it's like a continuous cycle of because we live in the society that we live in, if you come across as soft, right, then you may come across as someone's next victim. And in order to avoid being a victim and in order to protect yourself so that you can survive, you may have to come across a little tougher than you actually are. And so I think it's a cycle that's problematic all the way through. I think all parties are involved in some of the issues that we find in Black relationships.
I always say, just as much as a man can detect the masculine in me, I can detect the feminine in them. So
Indeed. But I do want to say that I think that it's a spectrum. So there should be some softness and some love and some affection in men, just like there should be some toughness and some directness in women. The issue isn't, if I have any masculinity or if a man has any femininity, is when do I know when to unleash that? When do I know when to use that? I'm walking down the streets in New York City, 3 o'clock in the morning. You best believe I'm going to give on my tough face. I'm gonna look like don't mess with me, because that is the best time for me to do so. But if I'm having a disagreement with my husband, it's not outrageous, it's just a disagreement about something light, then maybe I need to trigger my feminine wiles in order to get my way and to get through this, and not necessarily try to combat him with masculine energy thinking I'm gonna win, because I probably wouldn't.
thank you.
You're welcome. So, all right, beautiful people, it has been a pleasure. I really hope that you guys have gotten some useful insight and some useful next steps. Again, as I always say, we said this word 20 times, we'll make it 21, vet, 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 all right? It has been a pleasure. I'm going to email this training to you, so don't worry if you had to hop in and hop back out, you will gain access to it. And I hope that all of you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.